So this is the third question that I have taken from 2019 paper, and I must say I am astonished to see this question actually in this particular paper. So they say that actually you need to find out which of the following glucose transporters is insulin dependent. So we have been given 4 options over here. Out of this GLUT means glucose transporter. That is why they write it as GLUT, glucose transporter. Now there are actually 14 glucose transporters in the body, and information about them is supposed to be learned at a higher level. So I learned this in the first year of my MBBS, but yes, I was expecting this question to be appearing in my next exam, that is NEET PG exam, but see what has happened over here. This has appeared in the NEET UG exam. Even for getting into MBBS, you need to learn what is there in MBBS. Now the interesting fact about this is that this can be very easily linked to what we learn in the topics that has been covered, that are covered in class 11th and 12th. So that a glucose molecule, it attaches itself to these kind of membrane bound receptors. So glucose transporters are certain structures, certain proteins which are present in the membranes of the cell. Now these kind of glucose transporters over here will take in the glucose, and once it is inside, it will create conformational change. That means the size or the structure of this particular protein is changed, and due to that particular reason the glucose can enter into the cell, and that is how the cell gets its glucose. Now there are 14 glucose molecules. I will prefer you to learn up to GLUT5. The first 5 can be learned at your level, and other than that nothing else need to be considered much important over here, because this is just a question that has come in the recent NEET exam. So if you are planning to solve most of the questions even going out of the box, so I will recommend you to learn this, because in any other exam if you get this in the next coming years, then you can solve this kind of a question there without any doubt. So remember, GLUT1 is present almost everywhere in the body. You can see it is present in RBCs. RBCs are everywhere, and the blood-brain barrier. So anything to be taken inside the brain, you require GLUT1. So in brain, this is very important. Other than that, GLUT2 if you take, this is present in liver and kidneys. So for liver and kidneys to take in glucose, you require GLUT2. GLUT3 is very important for neurons. That is how neuron obtains its glucose. Now GLUT4 is what we are talking about. It is present in heart, skeletal muscle, that means the muscle you can move, and fat cells. So in adipose tissue, heart and muscle, this GLUT4 is present here. Now this is the answer that we are talking about. This is insulin dependent. GLUT4 initially will be present inside the cell. The cell is synthesizing this and is storing in some vesicles. The insulin will come and binds to insulin receptors that will generate certain signals through which these membrane bound, these structures which are present inside vesicles, these proteins present inside the vesicles will be taken towards the membrane, and on the cell membrane they will attach. That is how it gets ready. So once insulin is attaching to the cell, these will attach to the cell membrane as such. That is why we say it is insulin dependent. So GLUT4, among these 5 things I have written over here, only GLUT4 is insulin dependent. So that is why we say that the correct option for this question is option 3. And GLUT5 is present in small intestine and testis. So we need to remember that this is actually transporting one molecule at a time. So you will see it as unipot. So this is a unipot. Second point to remember, this is a facilitated diffusion. Facilitated diffusion means it is a passive transport. So I will write it as passive transport over here. Passive transport means there is no requirement of ATP. So this is a passive transport through which glucose is taken inside. There is no need of energy, there is no need of sodium to transport this. Only thing that you need to have is these structures should be present over there, and in case of GLUT4, it requires the modulation by insulin. So that much only you can remember from this. That is more than enough to clear all exams. So with that, we come to the end of this question. So we will proceed to the next.